I so wanted you to learn about pesto because pesto pasta is just something that features throughout everybody's lives, and I want you to have the best of the best and also know how else you can use pesto because it is such a delicious thing and it freezes well and it lasts in the fridge for a long time and nutritionally it's great for you. So the key to this is that you do need a blender of some sort. You might have a stick blender at home, you might have a sort of tall blender, something a bit like this. You might have a food processor. I'm going to use a food processor because I think that that is probably the most, well, I don't know, but probably it's the most versatile for all of you, and you've probably got a neighbour that might have one even if you don't have one yourselves. If you're going to use a stick blender, then, whoops. I realise I should have got mine out for you as well to show, but a stick blender has a goblet like this and they just click together like, oh, wrong way. They're very, 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 very useful. You might just want to do half this recipe at a time. It just depends on how powerful or how big your stick blender is, but that's a really, really useful tool to use and it works extremely, extremely well. So you have got choices. Typically it was done in a traditional way in a pestle and mortar. Let me just bring you my pestle and mortar. I normally just drive straight into the machine, but this is a pestle and mortar, and to make the quantities that we need, you need 3 times the size of this, otherwise it's just going to spill everywhere. And it's the kind of thing you do when you're on a Tuscan holiday and there's nothing else to be done in the day. I think in all our lives, in our school lives and working lives, that we just need to get the job done and enjoy it, don't you think? So I'm running the lesson today with a food processor, and it's an opportunity for me to show you how to use one. Food processors all come with a base unit, and you have to click the bowl into that base unit. It's usually through the handle, there's a magnetic point, and we're going to use the metal blade. So the metal blade goes on, you just twizzle it on and it will settle down, and then it's a good idea to make sure the machine is working before you get to the next stage. So put the handle on. Again, there's usually a magnetic point that has to just go in and click into the handle, and then you can just press pulse. Yeah, that's working. So if the machine is not connected properly, it won't work, and it's really good for the first time you're using it that you make sure it works and that you're comfortable with that before we go any further. Right, now on we go. Have you got your ingredients ready? Have you got your tea towel? Oh, where's my tea towel at hand? Have you got clean hands, and have you got your hot soapy water? In fact, is your mise en place where it needs to be? Well, you know, I'm delighted to say that mine is. And so we're just going to go straight in with the recipe, and we will just look at the ingredients and see if there's anything we need to do with any of the ingredients before we actually get on to making the pesto. And just glancing at here, I can see the garlic. Now, if you're using a stick blender or a blender, goblet blender, then you won't need to do this, or you won't need to pre-crush your garlic. But in a food processor, sometimes it's a good idea to do it. And what we need to do is remove the skin from the garlic first of all. So press that garlic down either with the heel of the hand or with the flat blade of a nice big chopping knife, chef's knife. And then you'll find that the garlic skin will come straight off there. Now, hopefully you've got a little bowl for your rubbish. And then I'm going to use a garlic press to just get that at the ready. And you will notice that I'm using a green board because this recipe is not going to be cooked. It will be fine to use any board you've got at home, provided it's been washed in hot soapy water and is lovely and clean, squeaky clean. That's very, very important from a food hygiene point of view if you are preparing raw food. Right, so that can sit there, oops, at the ready. When you use a garlic press, remember, I talked about it earlier in the course, you must go straight to the sink and you must wash it up so that the holes don't get blocked. All right, because dry garlic is sticky and it sticks into those holes. Okay, so the garlic is at the ready. I'm going to just leave it at the edge of the board there. And then the Parmesan. So I'm going to use a microplane for my Parmesan. It produces a wonderful fine grating. Again, actually, you know, there's an attachment in my food processor that could do this. And microplanes are such an amazing chef's tool now. If you don't have one, you want to use the finest side of your, you've probably got a box grater, and they have different thicknesses. I can feel this is the sort of end of the Parmesan here, so it's been a little bit annoying for grating. So it may be that I use that to just nibble on later on. We'll keep going. Now, this recipe is a slight movable feast. I've given you obviously a clear recipe with amounts, and that works very well. But sometimes I find myself up in the cheese, up in the nuts. Depends on how much basil I've got and how strong the basil is and the time of year. So we will have a little bit of a play and taste and see what we think as we go along. Right, oops, that Parmesan is jumping all over my hands. Okay, right, now, at the ready. So the basil is going to go into the food processor first of all. This is such an easy recipe, you're going to love this. It's like a week off after making bolognese, which will have pulled you down. Garlic is going to go, say it would have pulled you down. Making bolognese is just such a good experience, and the outcoming is heartwarming. Right, the garlic is going to go in there now, and then we're going to add in the pine kernels. Now, you will see on the recipe that I've given you lots of different recipes. A pesto is made of 5 ingredients. You've got a soft herb, typically basil. You've got a cheese, typically Parmesan. You've got garlic, always garlic. You've got nuts, typically pine kernels, but also I use macadamia. I use walnuts, you can use pecans, you can use cashews, there to choose. And then what's the 5th ingredient? Olive oil. Always needs to be a really good quality olive oil. Right, I'm going to pop the nuts in there now, and I'm going to start off by giving this a whiz. Right, just to break everything up. Now, I'm going to start, next thing, I'm going to get some seasoning into that, because it's always good for the seasoning to be part of the mixture. Parmesan has got quite a lot of salt, but it will need some salt in it. Now I'm going to add, oh, there were some pine kernels that got away. I'm going to add some olive oil, and I'm going to add the Parmesan. Now, there is an amount of olive oil, okay, but I want your pesto to be like a thick paste, okay, and it depends exactly how much basil you've got today and how big the stalks are and all sorts of things to exactly how the consistency will run out. So I'm showing you to add some, and we can always add more as we need it, okay? Right, oh look, there's a nice little lump of Parmesan there. Right, let's get that Parmesan cheese in there now. In that goes, and then let's give it a whiz. Right. Oh, delicious. Now, pesto. I'm going to take a photo of that actually, so you can see what is going on before I carry on. Pesto has got so many uses. Typically, it gets stirred into lovely hot pasta, fresh pasta, dry pasta, whatever it is. It can then it can get stirred into a salad like dressing, which is delicious with the tricolor salad with avocado and tomato and avocado and mozzarella. It's absolutely delicious. It is wonderful smeared onto sourdough toast with some Parma ham on top. It is amazing as a base as a pizza. It is lovely smeared over a salmon fillet and baked in the oven for 8 minutes. It is delicious as a sort of lettuce wrap with chicken slivers or turkey slivers and some mayonnaise. So can you see, it is so versatile, and it's not just a pasta, it is just with all these herbs in it and the garlic and olive oil, it is medicinal. And so I want you to make loads of it, embrace it and use it in different ways. Right, now that still needs some more pulsing because then I can still see lumps of nuts. And so we're going to keep going with that, which is going to take another 30 seconds or so. Right, now I'm going to just take another photo of that, just so you can see. So it's time to taste it, all right? It's to find out what's going on. Does it taste good to you? Does it need more of one of the ingredients? What does it need? I think it just needs salt and pepper. So think about those ingredients. Do you want it to be cheesier? Do you want it to be nuttier? Do you want it to be more olive oil? For me, the consistency is perfect. And in terms of cheese, I quite often make pesto without the cheese because I don't like an overload of dairy in my life. And that it works really, really well too. Just think what feels good to you. Right, let's get it going again. Now, no double dipping, please. Let's get another spoon and taste. Gosh, everything is coming through. All the flavours coming through. Now, as this sits, the flavours will develop even more. So it's going to happily go into the fridge. And what I'm going to do now is actually get it out and just show you what can be a bit of fun too. If you buy pesto from the supermarkets now, particularly the smarter supermarkets, you know, it ends up having sort of different looks, as it were. And what I've noticed is that quite often you pay an absolute premium if you can see the pine kernels in it. And also, sometimes they toast the pine kernels, which is utterly delicious too. Now, toasted pine kernels, you can toast your pine kernels by popping them in a frying pan and dry frying them. And that is the quickest way to do it. But you can find, if you do that, that you burn them a little bit. So, and they're sort of slightly uneven in size. So maybe a more reliable way to do it is in the oven. However, you need to remember that nuts contain oils and they can burn very quickly. And pine kernels are a very expensive nut. So you've got to be aware. But I think what is fun is to add some whole pine nuts into your pesto and just give it a little stir through. Remember, not using those, no double dipping, and then just stir it through. And then you've got this gorgeous, posh, artisan pesto, which you can charge a premium for. And then it's quite fun because you've got the texture, additional texture as you eat it and enjoy it. So this is your pesto. I want you now to go and have fun and smear it and spread it and love it. I think I'm going to cook it with some fresh pasta tonight, but I'm also going to toast some sourdough and put it on just so you can see how that looks. Anyway, have fun with your pesto. Love it, enjoy it, eat it, and smear it everywhere. Bye! Just taking a little break here. I mean, homemade pesto, it's so straightforward and quick and easy. Pesto pasta, isn't that part of everyone's lives? I just love it smeared on sourdough. Got a bit of ham on here with grilled peppers. Oh my goodness, it's a brilliant, brilliant lunch.